Dear students, happy to meet you once again in my Python lectures. Hope all of you are doing fine in this lockdown days. Today what I am going to teach you is regarding exception handling in Python. Let me give some basics regarding exception handling before we get into the topic. When you take any robust language, robust language means a language which will help the programmer to develop error-free programs. So for example, Java, C++, Python are called robust languages because they help the programmers to develop error-free code. So all such robust programming languages will support a concept called exception handling. So let me give example for this. Let us take example. You are writing one perfect program. So you know that the program is very perfect. But when you try to run the program, you can see the program will not work as you expect. It is trying to give some error, or it is prompting you some error. So you know very well the error is not there in the program. Then what is the one which made that particular error? So there are some situations where the program will be fine but will not give the output as you expect. All such situation will come under the exceptional situation. Let me give some more examples. Assume that you have written a Python program for reading a content of the file. So you have written a program to read a content of the file. But when you try to run the program is not working fine because the file which you are trying to read is deleted by some other user. So the program is fine, but the file was deleted. So this is one case. Another case. Assume that you are trying to run, you have created a program which is going to be division of two numbers. Let us say input A, input B, C equal to A divided by B. So this is a program which you have written. The user while giving the input is giving 0 and 0 as the input. So as we all know, when you divide a number by 0, you are going to get infinity, which is not possible in any language. So it is an error again. So you have written a correct program, but the user has given a wrong input like 0 and 0. That's why the program is not working fine. So all these will come under the category of exception. So when you write a robust program, you have to write a code which will make it robust, meaning even something goes wrong, the program has to work fine. All those things are called as exception handling. That's what we are going to see now in my lecture. So Python exceptions. An exception is defined as an abnormal condition in a program resulting in the disruption in the flow of a program. So what is exception? It is an abnormal condition that will disrupt the flow of the program, meaning the program will not go in the normal flow. So when exception occurs, the program halts the execution, the further code is not executed. So meaning when there is an exception, what happens? The program will stop running the current part of the code and it will stop further executing. So this is the definition for exception. So let me give some common examples of exceptions. So some common exceptions like zero division error. So occurs when you try to divide by 0. IO error, that is any kind of input output error, like a file case. EOF means end of file error, that is when you try to read a content of the file beyond the last line of the file, then you will be getting the EOF error. All these are some of the common exceptions which may occur in Python or any other programming language. Now we are going to see the three variations of exception handling mechanisms in Python. So this is the first version. What you want to do is, we are going to have a try, we are going to have a block of code, then we'll have a keyword called except, and then we are going to have a block of code. So let us see what you have to put in the try. In try you will be having a code. So whenever you write a program, you may know some statement which may create an abnormal condition. Okay, so what is this part? When you write a program, you may expect, or you will expect some part of the code might cause error. So all that part of the code you have to put in the try block. In our example, when you try to divide two numbers, we know the division is the operation that may create error. So that operation you want to give inside the try. Now except, what is except? Except is run the code if exception occur. So in the except, what you want to do, you want to put the code that you want to run when exception occurs. So this is the first version of the exception handling. So try except. So in this example I have given only one except. In general you can have n number of exceptions like this. So try block of code. This is except the first category of exception, block of code. except exception to second category of block of code and other code. So what you want to infer is, in a single try block you can have any number of exception to be handled. So this try is the block of code which you suspect that may cause a error, that you want to put in the try block. What is except block? So whenever exception happen, what is alternate way of doing that? That is the block of code you'll be having in the except section. So a single try except block, meaning a single try can have many number of exception handling statement. So this is the first version of exception handling. This is the second version of the try except else block. So what you have a try. Again here also, here we have a code which we suspect that may cause a error. Then we have expect to run the code on exception, and we may also have another keyword what is called as else. Run this code if exception doesn't occur. So in try block we write the code which may create exception. In except block we write the code to handle that exception. This else is a part. What code you want to write here? You want to write the code if exception doesn't happen here. Say for example, if you have a division symbol like C equal to A divided by B here. So if the user gives the value as 0 for B, then exception occurs, then this particular block of code will be running. Suppose assume that C equal to A divided by B, user is giving us 5 and 2. Here there is no error. So when there is no error, else block will be done. So except is a block which will get executed when there is exception. Else is a block that will execute when there is no such exception. So this is the second category of exception handling in Python. So here is example of this. Let us see. Try A, we are getting input A equal to input enter A. So we are typecasting to int and storing in A. And we have another input enter B, and we are typecasting into int, and then we are storing in B. And then we have statement C equal to A divided by B. And print C except exception. The first category, print cannot divide by 0. And then we have else, print I am in else block. So this is the code. Let us explain this code with two set of inputs. So A and B are the input, and your typecast to int. So assume that A is 10 and B is 2. You are giving A is 10, B is 2. So this statement will work perfectly fine because there is no problem. So you will be getting the answer as 5 here. And since there is no exception, the else block will be executed. I am in else block. So it will print this particular message. So that's the output you are seeing here. I am in else block. And let's take another example. The user is giving A as 10, B as 0. So A is 10, B is 0, which is an abnormal condition. That is an error. So you can't divide a number by 0. 10 divided by 0 will not be there. So what happened? The print statement will not be executed. Then it jumped to the exception block. So print, that is cannot divide by 0 will be the error. So when exception occurs, it directly jump to the exception block, and that will print cannot divide by 0. And you can see this statement will not be printed. So this is an example of the try except else block. So this is the third and important version of the exception handling with the finally block. So we have try except else finally. So let me see what are they. Try is the block of code which you suspect to create exception, so that you will write in this try. Except is a block of code which will run if exception occurs. Else is a block of code that will run if the exception doesn't occur. Finally means either the exception occurred or not, this particular block of code will always execute. So this is the syntax which will have a full exception handling mechanism. So try means what? You have to write the code which you suspect that will create exception. Except is the block that will run when exception occur. Else is a block that will run if it. Finally is the block of code that will run either exception occurs or not. So either except or else block, whatever is executed, finally is going to execute compulsorily. Here is example. You are getting the input A and B from the user and typecasting the int, and then we have input C equal to A divided by B, and then we have print C. So if exception occurs at this line, then you will be getting that error divided by 0. If the exception does not occur in this line, then you will be having print no error. Either exception occurred or not, always you will be getting the answer I will run. This finally block will be executed always whether the exception occurred or not. So I request you to kindly try this particular code in our Python compiler and then see how the exception handling occurs. So dear students, hope you understand the concept of exception handling. So in this lecture I have introduced what is exception handling, and then I taught only the basics of exception handling in the form of 3 different types, like try and except, try except else, try except else, and finally. So I have given a simple example for that. So kindly go through these videos, and then I will share the notes. Kindly go through it so that you can understand very well regarding the exception handling. And with this, the last topic of Unit 5 is over. So Unit 5 deals with whiles and exception handling mechanism. So we have gone through this, and if at all you have any doubt, kindly contact me, and I will share the notes of all the 5 units to you in our group. Thank you.